Hello everyone, to this short video where I will show you our new version of Argus. Argus, that is our aerial rescue and geospatial utility system. It's a web app tailored towards drone units of firefighters and rescue units. And in this video we will take a short look at our new version, as well as some datasets that we recorded a couple of weeks ago during a wildfire training near the German city Viersen. First of all, when you launch Argus, this is the home screen. It will be changed later, but for now, since it's still in development, we have to manually go over to the overview page. The overview page shows you all of your groups, and under each group you can have a number of reports. When you first launch Argus, there won't be any report groups, so we will go ahead and create a new group. Click up here, give it a name, and hit create group. Then under the group we can either take a look at the group report, which we will do later, we can edit it, and we could delete it. In our case, we will now just go ahead and add a report. Then we can open the report and now upload some images. The uploading either works by clicking in this area and using a file chooser, or like in my case, using drag and drop. So now the images are uploading, and once it's finished, we can start the processing. Before, we can take a quick look at the settings. We can use Argus fast mapping, which is pretty robust and doesn't need any overlap between the images, just some specific metadata. And if you configure it beforehand, we can also use OpenDroneMap to create a better looking autophoto, but it will come at a cost of much longer calculation time. But for the sake of this video, I will choose ODM mapping as well, so we can compare both. Once we finish with our settings, we can hit start processing. After a short pre-processing, we will get redirected to our report. This is our report. And within a couple of seconds, we can already see our first autophoto appearing from the fast mapping. On the left, we have a lot of cards, which we will take now a closer look on. On the top here, we see our title, our description, and the current status. And once it is finished, we can also edit our title and reprocess everything and maybe upload some more images. Next to it, we have some information about the weather. Down here, we have some information about the UAV that was used, where the flight had been taken, and some general data like how long was the flight and so on. The area description is something that we will take a look at later, same as object detection. And as you may have seen, we already have our two fast mappings finished. So there's the first ODM mapping, which has started and is now running. Down here, we have a gallery where we can see all of our images. We can filter the selection and search, for example, by name. Again, on the right, now the first mapping from WebODM is also finished. We can change the map to maybe give us a satellite image layer below, and then we can use the opacity slider to check how our site was looking before our mission. We can also deactivate the trajectory, and when we go through our map, we can click on an image and it will automatically open in this tab, the Images tab. You can switch back and forth between them, or you could click one on the side. It will always guide you over to the images so that you can see them in a little bit more detail. If this is still not big enough, you can just simply zoom into the image and move it around to see whatever you want to find in your images. You can use these arrows down here or the arrows on your keyboard to go through the images. And as you may have seen, there were some thermal images in between, and the order, they are obviously in the order that they were taken, but thermal and regular images are mixed right now. This is due to the gallery right here. When we go through the images, we go through the selection that we created here. If we click just thermal, we will now only go through those thermal images, like the selection that we just made. We can then, for example, analyze those thermal images a little bit more. If there's temperature data available, we can activate the analysis mode and this now colors the images live based on their temperature. So we can see something very bright up here. If we click, there's a temperature of a maximum of 166 degrees Celsius, while over here we have like 44, 45 degrees. And we can also change the appearance. We can use, for example, another color mapping mode to see, in this case, hot areas is white, and here we are even clipping, so it's getting transparent, and cooler areas will be displayed, in this case, in a green or bluish way. You can see, for example, in this image, there's nothing really warm around here. There's only just one hot spot. And if we want to see what that exactly is, we can lower the opacity and see below, maybe it's this corner right here where there's still a little bit of fire. If we go back onto the map, now we can see that WebODM is finished as well. We can also jump over into WebODM if we click the link up here, or we can directly go into the mappings that we just created when we click it. We will try that out. This will be the infrared mapping, and let me quickly get back to this tab. We can also take a look at the RGB mapping, and since this is WebODM, we also have the option to take a look at the 3D model. This time we only made the fast mapping, but it gives us a little bit of a point cloud. We could have also created a real 3D model. It would have just taken a little bit longer, and now for the sake of this video I thought I wouldn't mind just doing the autophoto. Right, let's go back again and maximize. Good. Now we have two more features to talk about: our object detection and our AI description. We will now run the object detection. Again, for the sake of this video, I will just use the fast mode. If you want to yield better results, you can take the other ones, but it will take a lot longer to calculate. So we will click Run Detection, and the detection will start by loading the AI models. When you run it for the first time, the models get downloaded, so make sure, if you want to use Argus offline, that you run it once online so that our AI models can be downloaded, and then it will run the images through our classifiers. Alright, the detection is finished. On the fast preset, it now just took around a minute, and now we can see the results. Up here we can see a little summary of all of the categories and objects that were found. And in the map you can see we now have some colorful dots that indicate the individual detections. We can also deactivate those if we think they are annoying and we just want to take a look at the map, or we can just reactivate them. We can use the summary up here to filter them even further. Maybe we aren't interested in seeing all the people, and maybe not even in the vehicles. We are only interested in the fire. We can click the fire and click Show to go right to the image where they were detected. Or we could also go ahead and maybe even filter them a little bit further to only see fires where the AI was really certain that there is a fire. For example, let's filter for a threshold of 0.9. We still have two detections. And if we want to see which images they are, we can also use this filter icon to filter the images down here. Now it looks as if there were no images found. That's because I still have the thermal images filter active. If we deactivate that, we can see it's currently searching for detections fire with a threshold of 0.9, and we get those two images. So if we now click through those images, we will only see these two. If we want to, for example, see the vehicles again, we can activate them again, and then they get highlighted in here as well. The last feature that I want to show you is the image AI description. We can just click Generate Description and then wait a little while it is processing all the individual images. So this will in the beginning also load an AI model. So if you haven't run it before while being online, make sure to once run it online to download the model, and then the model will process every image. And as I said, in the end, summarize it all to one description. Currently, this description is only in German, but soon we will have a new feature where you can select the language so other languages will be supported as well. Alright, now the description is finished, and up here we will have a short or a brief description describing the site and what has happened here. Now the last thing that we want to take a look at is the group report, as mentioned earlier. Now therefore I will go back to the overview, and I've prepared a bigger group with many reports in it, where we can just take a quick look at the group report. The group report is structured similar to the individual report, but instead of just only maps from one flight, we will have maps from many flights, as you can see up here. We can deactivate those or activate them and make a comparison from before and after. So in this case we can take a look. That was how the field looked before everything was burning or started to burn. We can activate all or just single map of the report. This was how it was looking after a couple of minutes. We can see flight 2 took part around an hour later, so there are already some burned parts. And then we can jump to the last, for example, take a look over here and see that a lot more of the area is now burned. And we can even change the opacity of every map on its own, so we can see where it actually burned. In addition to that, we also have a little bit more of a detailed table of all of our reports, where we can see how many images there were, if there are thermal images, if there are panoramic images, and if there are object detections. Panoramic images, for example, when we take a look at one of those reports, and it's a report with over 500 images and it processed without any problems, we can see that there are two 360 symbols in the middle. You can activate or deactivate those by checking panos down here. And if you click on those, you can see that we can also process 360 images with an interactive viewer where you can take a look around the site and see what was going on during the mission. Alright, that sums up our tour of the new version of Argus. If you want to learn more, check the link below to see more in our GitHub repository.